Welcome to episode 4 of A VO's Journey. I am your host, Anthony Pica, and I am excited about tonight. I really believe I have some great stuff to talk to you about. And before I get on that, I want to again let everybody know that this podcast is about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artist in trying to make as much money as possible out of their business, as well as becoming a full-time voiceover artist. So welcome, and let's get this show on the road. So tonight, I want to talk about character. Yes, character. Characters. Oh my, characters. It is what we as voiceover artists do. We are characters. I have been coaching actors in the theater for a long time. And one thing that I have learned over the years and that I always tell my actors is that it is imperative. It is so important to understand that everything we do, every voiceover here that we do, everything that you say when it comes to your job, your voiceover career, you are playing a character, plain and simple. It's easy to get caught up with the conversational read idea that everybody wants a conversational read if you are in that arena, if you're doing something like a commercial or even nonfiction, anything really. This is so popular right now. And the conversational read is often described as, I don't know, we want you to be yourself or want you to be real, like your next door neighbor. But the reality is that everything we do, no matter what it is, we are playing a character. Now that character might be the next door neighbor, might be the genuine guy or the genuine girl. But the reality is that genuine is subjective, right? It's genuine for whoever is playing that role. It's their job to come up with that character. And I think whenever you approach something in voiceover, in acting, because remember, we're actors. So no matter what anybody says, we are actors. Whether it's for e-learning or corporate or something that doesn't even seem like you could possibly act, like you're telling factory workers at Ford how to assemble engines, we're still acting. We're still performing for other people. And the hope is that even after you tell them how to construct an engine, that at least they're somewhat entertained. So that's our job. Now, of course, some things are going to be drier than others. There's nothing we can do about that. But we are going to be acting no matter what. So talking about character, I kind of want to get into different types of reads and different types of genres that you can go into as a voiceover artist and what that looks like and how to actually perform. You know, how to be a character. So many people struggle with how to just actually talk. How do I just talk? How can I be normal? I know I equate a lot of things with on the stage, but perfect example is I was working with some actors today, young actors, and just starting out. And their biggest issue was, what do I do with my hands while I'm on stage? Like, what do I do with them? They're just there. I don't know what to do with them. And I equivalate this for a voice actor is, what do I do with my voice? It's just there. I'm saying the words, but what do I do with it? Do I do this low voice? Do I do a high voice? Do I go really fast? Do I go really slow? What do I do? How do I make it into something more than what it is without seeming like it's so pushed and unnatural? So, the key to all of this, I think, is that in your mind, making that switch that you are playing someone else. You are not playing yourself. And also, no matter what genre you're in voiceover, we are performing heightened life. It's not normal life. Normal life is boring. We are playing heightened life. So don't go into any situation thinking that you are just being normal. You're not. If you're just being normal, no one would want to listen to it. Yes, the conversational read idea is that you are being natural, but even that read, that natural read, it's not really natural. I don't go to my next door neighbor if I'm going to sell them a lawnmower and be like, hey, how are you doing today? Would you like to buy a lawnmower? It's really great. All right. I don't go to my next door neighbor and say that. I don't know if you do, but the reality is that's what we would say in a commercial. So, it's still heightened life. And if you get that in your mind, it will help you. It will release or relieve some of that pressure off of you, that you have to be something that you can't figure out why you're not just natural. Why can't you be yourself? Well, you're not being yourself. Now, I always say, though, at the same token, every character that you play, there's going to be a part of you in it. And I always say the best characters or the best actors for a job are the ones that fit the personality of that work. And that's why for me, when I first started out, and I recommend this for everybody just starting out too, is to try as much of voiceover as you can. Try audiobooks, try e-learning, try animation or cartoons or video games, try corporate, try whiteboard, explainer videos, phone messaging, try it all. And what you'll find is that if you keep doing it, the market actually will tell you what they think you should be doing by the work they're giving you. When I first started out, I started in audiobooks, and I was fortunate because I started in audiobooks first, and I started getting lots of work. But I was trying to do fiction work when I would get a book here or there, but I would get lots of books. People would give me lots of book deals for nonfiction and self-help. Now, of course, I listen to a lot of self-help books. I enjoy it, and I enjoy the excitement and the energy and the rawness of it. So, naturally, I guess I fit into that. Now, I love character voices, so at the same token, I got a lot of work doing like evil character voices because I really enjoy that, and I have fun doing it. So, that's where I fit in. I tried to do other things, but I really didn't get a lot of work there. So the market really told me what I needed to do. So, that's my suggestion to you as well, is finding what the market is willing to pay you to do, what they want you to do. Anyway, so back to character, after you figure that out, taking that pressure off of you will help you when it comes to, sitting down, reading something. You can then look at your words, whatever it is, and say, what character am I playing? Who am I trying to be? Who is the audience that I'm performing for? And what would what would I look like saying to them? What can I see in my mind? And the key is when you do this, is to go for it. Make a fool of yourself. Don't hold back. The real, everyone, like I've said many times already, but everyone wants the realness. Well, the realness is raw. It's not this polished, the old way of radio style voiceovers or the movie voiceovers, in a world, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's still a place for that. Absolutely. But more and more, we are a society that is coming together more connected through social media and everything. So we all want to be social. And when we're being social, we are not being this totally fake idea. We are being more of real characters, real people. But remember, it's still a character. Okay, it's still a character, and I always frame it in my mind that way, no matter what. So let's put that to context here. All right, so let's say you're just starting out, and we're getting into audiobooks. You're saying, well, I want to try audiobooks. So you're going to go to acx.com, and that is a website that's owned by Amazon. You're going to sign up there. It's totally free. You just make a little bio, put a picture of yourself in there, and you go to the little search button, and it's going to say to you titles that are available, and you click on that, and there'll be some boxes that you can click on what you want to do. There's a whole bunch of different genres. You can click them all, and when you go in there, pick a book. Look at the book. They'll usually give you some notes, and you just pull it up, and it'll show you what the audition piece is. You pull it out, and it'll give you a little script, and you read it. And as you're looking at it, if you're doing fiction and you look at the piece of audition, maybe it's 2 or 3 pages, and it's part of, let's say, I'm just making this up, but let's say it's chapter 2, the first 3 pages of chapter 2. And in this, there are 4 different characters. And of course, maybe it's in the first person. So, you are reading it as if you are yourself talking. So you are also another character. So that is the character of the read. So when you look at this piece that you're going to read, instead of turning it on thinking, how am I going to, channel my best inner self, look at it from the context of, okay, each one of these are different people. Who are these people? And yes, this is the work that you have to do. You have to figure out who they are, where are they from, what are they doing. Now, you might be saying, hey, this is a lot of work to do for an audition. But the reality is, yes, it is. It is a lot of work. It's not easy. Now, you can go and do this without any of that, but you won't win very many auditions. So, you really need to think about it. Now, as you do this more and more, okay, you go into the piece, you look at how many different characters there are. How many voices do I need to have? Who are these characters? Are they male or are they female? How am I going to read my female voice? Really think about it. Don't be afraid to practice some before you do it. Nobody's there. That's the best thing about this, is that you can record, you can mess up, you can be a goofball, and no one's going to hear you until you record it. And then even when you record it, you send it off to somebody, they're just going to listen to it, and if it's not right for them, they're going to push it aside. You're not out anything. So really look at all of those items and try it. Now, here's something that's really useful tip, I think, that's helped me a lot, is that when you find the audition piece that you're doing, and you find these characters, and let's just say there's one character, the narrator. Okay, that's you. You're the narrator. Go on the internet and look through pictures of famous people, pictures of old people, pictures of young people, pictures of skinny people, fat people, tall people, short people, people with long hair, short hair. You know what I'm getting at here. Look at different pictures of people and find the person, or find the picture of a person that you feel fits that character that you're reading. And it's just going to be intuitive. It's going to be your gut feeling. When you find that, put that picture, save that picture, put it on your screen, or, you can just save it, minimize it, go back to it. But look at the character and think, how would this character talk? What would I be like if I was pretending to be this character? How would I act if I was this character? And using that picture, that visual aid, start to read the part and refer back to that picture. Also, another thing while you're doing this, while you're reading, and this is for anybody, don't be afraid to use your hands and your face. Now, we are limited somewhat of how much we can move our head, because it is important to get an even tone or an even voice. So moving our head and swaying it back and forth is going to cause sound variations, because you're moving back and forth from the mic. But don't be afraid to use your facial expressions, to use your hands, to put some sort of effort into it. If someone is smiling, like if you feel someone is saying, like, I love you from the bottom of my heart, and you have to actually say that, which, by the way, those 3 words are some of the hardest words to say and actually convince people that you mean it. But when you're saying that and you're happy, it's going to come through if you say those words and you have a frown on your face. Yes, no one can see the frown on your face, but they can hear it in your voice. So if you're going to say words, one of the first things you can do as well also is match your expressions on your face with the words you are saying. This is such an easy thing to do, but so many people don't do it just because either they've never been told or they think no one can see them, so it doesn't matter. But it does matter. It matters. Like right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm using my hands. My face, there's the emphasis on my face and my expressions, and hopefully you can hear that in my voice. As opposed to me sitting over here, maybe sitting back in my chair and not doing anything. You can tell, and it helps the emphasis, it helps the expression, it helps the pitch and the tone, everything in your voice. So, that's another tip. Use expression, use your hands, be careful with the head movement. So you got to keep that head, your mouth pointing towards the spot that you've designated it to go, but add the extra character, the facial expressions, the movement into it. Here's another thing that you can do when it comes to creating your character for whatever you're doing. Now, one of the best things to do, yes, it takes some time, but if you really want to do this, you really want to go all out and you really want to become full-time, there should be, nothing that holds you back from doing whatever it takes. And one of the things that you can do is dress up. Now, I know this might sound crazy to you, but if you're playing a character that is let's say you're playing this vampire, all right? You're doing something where you're a vampire. Let's say you're doing a read where you're playing a character and you're supposed to be a vampire and you're recording something for some sort of, maybe it's Halloween time and you're doing a voiceover for the haunted house, okay? There's this big haunted house in your town and they've hired you to do the voiceover for it, the introduction. And let's say, you're trying to really get into this character to do the read. Well, as silly as you might think this sounds, go get a sheet, put it over you. Go get some, go buy some sort of teeth, some fake teeth to put in your mouth. Watch the stuff in your mouth, I will say that. So that's maybe not the best advice, but you get where I'm going with this. Slick back your hair. Get into the part. Get into it. At least to start. Because one, if you're not having fun doing this, no one is going to have fun listening to you. So I always tell all the people I work with that as well. If you're having fun, everyone else is going to have fun listening to you. But if you're not having any fun, no one is going to be interested listening to you. They are going to hear that you are fake and you don't want to do this and you don't want to be there. So really have a good time. And, I know that it sounds silly. It sounds to me even silly, when I telling people that I can't see in front of me and I can't help you to do it while I'm sitting across from you. But seriously, and it doesn't even have to be all of that. It could be like maybe you're playing some sort of Western character. And let's say you have a hat. Maybe you record your session with your hat on. Maybe you're playing some cool or slick character. Maybe you put on some sort of, sunglasses or something that, just it gets you the feeling. What we do in acting, okay, in voice acting or in acting in general, is we create external traits. We force the external, meaning that we do it ourselves. We force it to happen ourselves. We make it happen. And through the external, it brings out the internal part of our acting. So meaning that if you are trying to, be this deep character or, you're just trying to bring out this inner you. Well, that inner you doesn't come out without you creating some sort of external response. So the external action creates the internal response. All right. So that means if a perfect example, let's say you have a part where you need to realistically seem like you are upset and sad. There are some things that you can do physically to help yourself get in that mood. Okay. One of the things too is that there is whenever you're sad, whenever you're having a bad day, there is physical things that we do that help us or that tells our body, tells our mind and our emotions, that we are sad. So here's some examples. Think about when you're sad and when you're not in a good mood. Okay. What are some things that you do physically? Well, first off, think about you're slumped over, your posture is your shoulders are down, your head is down, a little bit forward. You talk a little bit slower, your eyes sloop, you walk really slow. Your facial expressions are very just kind of blah. Everything is just drudgery. You're weighted down with the world. It's like you've got weights on your shoulders. Your whole posture changes. And when that happens, no matter if you're in the most fantastic of moods, if you make your body do those sorts of things, the way you speak, your actions, and your voice will change. That internal emotion will come out because of the external action you've created. So for us as voice actors, a great way to get into a character that you're trying to do, whether it's happy, upbeat, sad, emotional, serious, is to change your body to match what the body of a person who is in that mood would be. And we all know what they are. All right. Think about it. If you're happy and upbeat, your posture is going to be upright. Your head is going to be up. Your chin is going to be up in the air. It's not going to be down. Yes, adjust your microphone. Make sure you adjust your microphone for this. But that's why when you're recording a commercial, okay, about you're selling a product and it's supposed to be exciting and upbeat, you're asked usually to stand up and to really get into it because they want you to, that action brings out the internal emotion and the internal excitement. All right. But if you're being mysterious, you know what I mean? You might want to sit down, or you might want to change your posture. You might want to change your facial expressions to look like something is happening and it's really strange. And I'm going to find out what it is, no matter what you say. All right. You know what I'm saying? So these are some things that you can do. You can find visual aids, pictures, places, things that you can look at that can help you become a character, okay? And let your mind wander on it and let it be and let it see what happens. Again, another thing is remember your body, your facial expressions, your body, change your posture, okay? Change your posture. Another thing you can do is clothing and hats and accessories. Okay, this is real, and this is acting. It's not. It's not just any. It's not just. It's not the guy from next door. What the funny thing is, it's not the neighbor next door. The neighbor next door is not doing voiceover. Well, maybe he is or she is, but you know what I mean. It's not them. It's us. It's actors who are doing these voiceovers. So as actors, you have to think of it as acting. And these are some different acting techniques that you can do. And the great thing is that you can do this by yourself. So even if you dressed up like a fool, who's going to see it? But what they're going to do, they're going to hear it. They're going to hear the difference. All right. They're going to hear the difference. They're going to be like, what the heck is that person doing? They sound amazing. They're really into it. All right. They hear it. They can hear what you are doing through the actions you are creating. Okay. So hopefully those are some tips that can help you get into character, right? The next thing about the character I want to talk about goes into how many different ways to do something. When do you know it's right? When do you know that you've done something correctly or something that needs to be changed? And how many times do you record something? I'm just today. So just today I was finishing. I just finished before I'm recording this. I just finished a video game recording or a character for a video game, and totally over the top evil type character with all sorts of different emotion and different takes. And the director gave me a lot of direction the second time around. And after the second time around, with all the direction I was given, I was able to really form a character out of all of that direction. But when I first did it, I didn't have any direction. I didn't have any context. So, as actors or performers, if we don't have a direction, and I'm going to be upfront with you, if you are a working professional who is making a lot of money doing this, you are going to probably be directed, or at least be given some direction at some point, because that's how it happens when you are on the upper levels. That's just the way it is. Because whether it's the people who are paying you, the company who wants you to do it a certain way, or it's they actually hire a director to work with you. But when we're just starting out, no one directs us. We get work wherever we can, and we get a script, and we might be lucky if we get a few instructions in the margin. But for the most part, it's up to us to fill in all the context. And to do that, you have to literally make it up. You have to make up the character. You have to try things. You have to write down things. You've got to think about this from a standpoint of, what if you were directing yourself? What would you say to yourself? How would you make it happen? Don't underestimate the power of thinking about your character and how to make it better. We should always approach every situation that way. At least I try, how can I make this better? And sometimes it takes multiple reads, multiple recordings to make it better. But, add in that context. So that's another tip. Add in the context behind your character. Context meaning, is it a good guy? Is it a bad guy? Is she happy or is she sad? Does she have a good family life or not? Was she orphaned? Was she brought up in a good part of town or a bad part of town? Does he have a girlfriend or doesn't he have a girlfriend? All of these things matter. Did he watch his dad get shot and then turn into Batman? Right? That's a context. Would it really be Batman? Would Batman ever have happened if his parents weren't killed? And then if they weren't killed, well, who would he have been? But since they were killed, that started a domino effect, and that stayed with him no matter what. It is the sum of his parts. I'm getting at the point is that you think about all these things, add them up, create them yourselves. Don't wait for someone to create it for you. Create the character, create all that context. And then once all that context is created, make it happen physically with your body. And once you physically make it happen with your body, then let the words come out. And what you'll find is when you do that, you won't have to worry about any of the stuff you're worrying about. You won't have to worry about, how does it sound? Am I saying the right thing? Am I pausing in the right place? Because you're not going to be focusing on any of that. You're going to be focusing on the character that you are creating. And if you can get your mind out of your way, the acting or the message, the words you're saying, they take care of themselves. The trouble is we got to get out of our own way. And to do that, we have to do all these other things. We have to add the context. We have to create the external action. And we have to do those things in our booth, at our home, by ourselves, and we have to spend the time to do it. So there is time that goes into this. And if you are just auditioning for one piece, spend the time. Spend the time. It will make all the difference in the world. And if you don't get that audition after you spend all that time, that's okay. That is okay. If you are not auditioning and auditioning, you're not doing this job right. Part of our auditioning is sending our demo out, contacting people, those sorts of things. And we'll go over that in other episodes. But audition. Well, I mentioned ACX earlier, the audiobook exchange that was created by Amazon, and that, goes directly onto Audible and then through Amazon and iTunes. And that's where you can go for free, sign up, and there's like thousands of books that authors have put on there for voiceover artists. Some are royalty deals, some are payment outright, paid per finished hour, and they're various prices. Some are $50 to $100, some are $400 to $1,000 per finished hour. Some are royalty deals where for the next 7 years you get 20% of every book sold. So if the book sells at $10, every book sold, or the audiobook says $10, every book sold, you get $2. So, you sell 100 books, that's $200, which is awesome. And that's for 7 years. So if you do 100 of those, that's a couple $1,000. And it works. It really does. Like I told you in one of the other episodes, I've done 32 books so far, and I sell a good amount of books per month, and I get a royalty check every single month for the books that I've already done, and I don't do them anymore. So I did, like a book books I did over a year ago, I still get paid every single month. And it's really nice. Some of the books, I've already made way more money than I probably would have made on that book if I had done it outright. But some books I've not made nearly as much money as I should have. So of course it's, it is a challenge with the royalty share. But I do have a method on how to pick those. So, but anyways, getting back to the character, hopefully this has helped. Hopefully you can kind of see a path to creating a character, taking some of that pressure off of your back about what do I actually do? What do I actually say? How do I do this thing called voiceover? I'm an actor. That's what you are. You are an actor. So actors prepare. Actors take what is given to them, take the script, and they add in the context. So think of the script that you have. And when I say script, I'm using some theatrical terms, but it is a script, whether it's a book script, whether it is a script for a commercial, whether it is a script for a corporate read or an e-learning, whether it is a script for a cartoon character or a video game, whatever it is, you get a script. And that script, those words on the script, those are the bones. That's the skeleton. Your job is to create everything else that goes into it. And you create it first by adding context to the words. Who is it? Where are they? The who, what, where, when, why. What setting is this in? What time period is this in? If you're doing some sort of read, maybe you're doing a voiceover for a video that is talking about the 7th or the 19th century, or maybe you're doing a video that is talking about you're portraying a character who is narrating during the Industrial Revolution. Well, you're going to need to have context there, but at the same token, maybe you then do someone who is selling, you're doing a commercial for someone who is selling cars. And these are very wealthy cars, and you're selling for a very wealthy audience. So your character is going to speak a certain way. Okay. And you might be then doing something where you are selling items that are doing something for a commercial where that character is going to be someone completely different. So you have to add in all that context, who they are. And every little bit that you add in helps. You might not think it helps, but it does. Everything that has happened to you in your life, you are the sum of your parts, right? If you take something away from you, you will not be the same person of who you are, all right? And there's no one more qualified to play you than you, because all of those things that have happened to you in your life have created you. So if you are going to create a character, you have to fill in those things. Now, of course, don't go overboard here and say, I got to fill in, 50 years of stuff. That's not what I'm saying. All right. It'd be, common sense, but, fill in major events, and you can even do this by writing it down on a piece of paper, typing it down, doing it mentally. Maybe you just take a few minutes to mentally think about who this is, what they've done. And what's interesting is when you start doing this, you'll do something like, you'll have a character, and let's say you're narrating an audiobook, and maybe you are, the character is female, okay, and she has had a really rough life, okay. I mean, maybe she grew up going from home, foster home to foster home, okay, and maybe she came to a foster home where she was beaten, okay. What if you had to pretend that was you, okay? That person, adding that context, that's going to create a unique person. Now you might say, okay, so I've got this character. She's been beaten. She's gone through hell. I'm doing this book, and this book is all about this girl's redemption. And through that, she's also she seeks revenge. Okay, well, you might say, well, I've never been in foster care. I've never been beaten. How do I play someone like that? Well, it starts out again with those traits, those external actions that I was telling you about. So this is a great way now and I'm going to give you some tips on how to create characters that are believable when you've never been those people, okay? You've never gone through any of those things, all right? So if you are someone who is playing that part of that girl who's went through foster care, who's never had a real home, never felt that love of a family unit, so, she's going to really definitely feel alone in the world, and when you feel alone, there is a protective, you have to protect yourself. There's a defense there that comes with no one being there to defend you. So you create a defense, and the defense usually comes, out harshly. And then add on top of that she was, beaten. You could tell there's also anger there. Well, those are emotions that you have felt. Everyone's felt anger. Everyone's felt fear. Everyone's felt frustration. Everyone has felt these emotions, and the emotions might not be geared towards what this girl was feeling, but they're the same emotions that elicit the same responses. And you can hear that through your voice. So what I'm getting at is, just because you haven't lived through any of these things, or just because you don't understand them in the character, doesn't mean you can't create this by tapping in on what the emotions are. And that's why, again, the context is very important, and it's very important to do your research. Now, I'm getting into some heavy stuff. I'm talking about some real deep acting that you would be thinking about as you're doing a book. Or you might be thinking about, as you're doing some sort of narration for some longer piece. But what about a short piece that's, 10 seconds long or 7 seconds? What's the context? What do you have to do for that? Well, yes. So if you're, selling shampoo and you're doing a voiceover for, Suave or something, some sort of shampoo, you might not have to go that deep into, what is my hair feeling right now? That's just goofy. But you still need to add some context to what you're doing. Like, for example, who are you selling this shampoo to? What is it that the director or the people want you to be like? Are you supposed to do that natural read, or are you supposed to do that, famous, commercial type, when I say commercial type, that very fake old radio style voice? Or are you supposed to be the person next door? Are you supposed to be a mom? Are you supposed to be a kid? Are you supposed to be a dad? Are you supposed to be a race car driver? It is important. The context is important. That's your job. And the people are going to say to you, just do it. It's not that hard. But it's up to us to be prepared for that. So don't think, no matter how small something is or how big something is, that changes. Spend the time to do the work, because the work will create an amazing product. And in the end, our job is to entertain. That's our goal, to entertain and to hopefully help our clients create, the desired result that they're looking for. But that's our job. So you might say, well, my job is to do commercials and sell stuff. Well, you're selling stuff through entertaining. Right? If people are not entertained, they're not going to buy what you're selling. So, we are in the entertainment business. So remember that. Remember that we are in the entertainment business. We're trying to make people happy. And to make them happy, we have to put or sad, or whatever the feeling we're going for, we have to put work into it. All right. So I've definitely gone into this topic a lot. And you probably could tell I love it. I love talking about acting. I love talking about, how to bring that out of people. I would love to hear. I would love to get some responses, some feedback. I've been trying to think recently, what is the best way for feedback, and why I think it would be really cool if we did something maybe like on Twitter. So maybe like if you would like give me feedback on my Twitter account, maybe that would be like the easiest way, I think, to reach me, and I could reach you and we could talk really easily. I mean, my Twitter Twitter name is at Anthony Pica VO. It's all one word. So ANTHONY PICA VO. I'll put that in the little box for the voiceover, but the description. I couldn't think of what it was. So anyways, I'll put it in the description, but I think maybe Twitter. So maybe if you guys could like send me some messages, give me some feedback on Twitter, and let me know what you think. Let me know if you do any acting techniques, or if you are brand new and have never acted before, or maybe you're coming from the acting world and this sounds familiar to you, or maybe you're coming from the acting world and it doesn't. Or maybe you're coming from somewhere totally different, that you've never done any of this before, and you're trying to put together a base for how do you create a character? How do you create another person? So let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions, and tell me what you think about the show. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to just be asking that, but please subscribe to the podcast. Please, if you like it, give me a 5-star rating. Please. But at the same time, let me know on Twitter how this is going. So just to recap one more time about just everything that's happening or that we've talked about today. So your job is to create a character, and that character is then going to read those lines for your client. Creating a character, you need to do a couple of things. You need to have the script. That's the bare bones of what you're doing. Then through that, your job is to fill in all the rest of the body. All right? It starts with context. Who are you doing this for? Who is the person that's actually reading this? What what is their purpose? Who are they? Where are they? Where is this? All of that context, you need to fill it in. You need to have an idea in your mind, even if it's a few minutes of you just adding it. You're making it up. If it's not given to you, you look at the words. If there's something in them that you can use, great. If there's not, make it up. And if someone doesn't like it, they'll tell you, and then you can make something else up until you make the right thing up. But make up some context, make up some ideas so that you have something to go off of. All right. Once you make it up, look for some visual aid. Look for some pictures. Look for something that you can see that you visually look at that makes you feel like you can actually pretend to be that person. All right. Once you find that visual aid, then try to add some body expressions, add some facial expressions, some hand gestures. Remember, no one's going to see you. You're in your booth. So, who cares if you look funny or you've got weird faces or your hands are flailing around? No one's going to see you. And that's a great thing about voice acting. No one's going to see you. So you can do whatever you want. You'd be upside down, standing on your head, recording, and no one would care. They would think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread if it sounds amazing, but they're not going to care what you look like. Okay. But they can hear it in your voice. So after you've created that, if you're still having some problems or you're still trying to find, don't be afraid to add a couple extra pieces like a hat or, some sort of piece of clothing. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't think it's stupid. Okay. Don't just brush it off. Try it. You might find that moving forward, you come across this hat and you put it on. You're like, man, I really like when I put this hat on, it makes me feel a certain way. Putting on, this is just perfect example. If you're going out on a date, you put on really nice clothes, it makes you feel better. You become a different person. But when you come home after a long day, you put on your pajamas, you feel like a different person when you put on your pajamas. All right? When you go out to a swimming pool and you put on your bathing suit or the ocean, you feel like a different person. We act differently when we have different clothing on. It's the external action that creates the internal response. And all of that comes through of your voice. Okay? All right. Whew. So that's a lot. Please let me know what you think about this on Twitter. And I'm really looking forward to talking to you guys. So thank you so much. Hopefully you stuck around by now. This is the longest one we've done so far. And I hope it was worth it. So, hey, thank you guys. Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you next time. All right. Y'all have a wonderful night. Peace.